Welcome everybody to the 2022 Ford Mustang GT. Yes, this is with the 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, the Mustang to have essentially. The car we have with us today is the 50th anniversary edition with the white pack. Everything on this car is white out. Let's see how this pony car is. The front end of the Mustang, again, it has the typical Mustang family theme look that has been there in the market since a very long time, but it's not a bad thing because this car still looks really good. It stands out on the road and it catches attention like no one else. Since this is the white edition, everything is white out. As you can see, the car itself is white, but even the front, the pony emblem on the grille is white as well. Everything else, just a typical Mustang with a V8. One addition I would say for the 50th anniversary is that the hood scoops are unique to this car, and I think they add some character to the front end of this car. When you come to the side after admiring the front end with all its cuts and creases and the bulges, the side profile is what reminds you of the fastback theme that the Mustang has been based on since several decades. Yes, the Mustang is always called the fastback, and it's visible very much in the side profile of this generation. Since this is the white edition, everything is white out, so the 5.0 logo that signifies the big engine is in white. The nice 19-inch rims are also in white. In fact, it might seem a bit too white. In fact, the pictures look a bit deceiving, but when you see it in person, it actually stands out and it looks really good. It caught quite a lot of attention when I brought this to one of the recent car meets, so that was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, just a typical coupe, long doors, long wheelbase. It's not small. In fact, when you see it from the side profile is when you realize this car is actually really sizable and pretty long. Typical fastback traits, but again, a very smart looking package by Ford. The rear end of the Mustang has the emblem of GT right in between the cars. So this is the 5-liter V8. The EcoBoost version does not have GT written, it just has Ford emblem on it. The signature taillights that have been carried on from generation to generation look really good. In fact, when you have it on the indicator mode, it actually is sort of like a matrix light, so it comes in sequence, which looks really nice as well. The white edition, so everything is white. The spoiler looks very good as well, and the diffuser with the quad pipes. The quad exhaust pipes, they are the real deal. They look mean and obviously they sound mean as well. The naturally aspirated V8 is nothing to be shy of. It sounds truly amazing. Now I'm inside the Ford Mustang GT, and the retro theme that Ford has been trying to put out with this car really stands out inside the car. You've got some very old school elements like this dashboard part which has Mustang embossed on it. The AC vents look very old school. The switch gear looks very old school as well, which have a very nice click actually, to be very honest with you. The gear lever has a very old school look, but everything feels really nice and premium. Everything, there's leather all around. There's good use of aluminium as well, especially this white bit which is for the white edition, you guessed it. And yeah, everything else feels really good. You've got physical buttons for the aircon. You've got a nice 18-inch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is again very nice. But yeah, the retro theme really carries on inside. The black interior doesn't feel claustrophobic because the windows are very big, because it's only a 2-door, so there's no 4 doors. So the window is really big. There is no sunroof, but it's a nice place to be. The seats, again, it's a dual tone interior with the white and black with white stitching, and the seats are really comfortable. You can do long hours. The lumbar support, the side supports are really good. Initially I thought that it's a bit too hugging, but again, it feels really comfortable. And when you're inside the driving position, you see the long bonnet and you're sitting a little on the lower side, but you get used to it eventually, and it's actually fun after a point to manhandle such a big beast. There are rear seats, but better not to talk about them because they're so impractical, hardly suitable for even kids. I don't even know why they have the back seats here, but it's there. Maybe you can use it to put some stuff, but again, the boot is so big you might not actually need it, so there is really no use for the rear seats in the Ford Mustang. Again, just a lovely place to be inside. Now I'm behind the wheel of the Mustang GT, so let's see how this car drives. I'm already driving and As you can hear, perhaps, I'm not sure if it captures on camera, but there's always a nice V8 burble going on around the car whenever you drive. Especially the cold start sounds so good, and you just keep on driving and it's so smooth. It has slight, vibrations, but it feels so satisfying. Let's get the numbers out of the way. The engine is a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine which produces about 450-ish horsepower, which is pretty healthy. It's made into a 10-speed torque converter gearbox, and the gearbox is pretty efficiently tuned, if I can say. It's like so eager to jump into the highest gear possible. I'm going at 50 kph and it was in 8th gear. If I go into 55 kph, it goes into 9th gear, which is pretty high of a gear for 50 kph. Obviously, when you do floor it hunts and it downshifts multiple gears at once. It's pretty fast, so that way it's not a problem. And obviously you do have paddle shifters as well, which you can take matters in your own hand. You can put the gear lever into S and then shift it down, and you can hear the engine. It sounds very, very nice. I mean, I could do with this, I could live with a naturally aspirated V8 that sounds so good. And these are stock exhaust, no pumped in audio. This is actual engine noise, and it sounds so good. Honestly, it sounds so good. And then you can just put it into the highest gear by clicking on the paddles if you're doing it manually, and it just settles down, which is so nice. It's got a dual personality. That's what I love about this car so much. The ride is very stiff. When you go over a bump, you do feel it. These are 19-inch alloys. And the handling, you need to be really good to hustle this around corners. The steering is a little vague, but obviously you can change the mode. So if I put it into sports steering, the weight goes up exponentially and you can really point into corners. Obviously it is heavy, so you have to hustle through corners, and you have to just maneuver this vehicle so much. It's nice. Sometimes it's nice to go with the hassle. You floor it, and it's so satisfying. You're way above the speed limit, so easy. The ride, the handling is really good. The brakes, the pedal feel is really, really good. So you just touch the brakes and it comes to a stop. And be careful, it's rear wheel drive, so if you do floor it mid corner, the tail will slide. Especially if you have the traction off, I'd recommend keeping the traction control on. I mean, the meme videos that Mustangs crashing into people, crashing into things, I can see why that happened. It's really a handful of a car to manage, but if you get it right, it's immensely rewarding. That basically sums up the whole driving experience of the Mustang. In conclusion then, the Mustang GT. What can I say about it? It's the quite essential pony car. It's rear-wheel drive. It's got a naturally aspirated 5-liter engine, and it looks so cool. In fact, this generation has been in the market for so long, yet it still manages to garner attention. That speaks volumes of how good this car is. The handling, it's a little bit all over the place, but with a skilled driver, I think you can do really well and, be competitive with other sports cars. Yeah, that speaks volumes as well. Everything else is just old school, but given a modern touch. And that's exactly what is essential for these muscle cars, pony cars, and the cars that have been in existence from so many years. At around $62,000 for this 50th anniversary GT V8, I think it's pretty good value for money considering the prices for cars these days in this absurd market. It's good value for money. And if I were in the market to buy something that was loud, showy, looked good, and got so much attention, this would probably be right up in the list.